Yo, what's up, ProSense family? Welcome back to another banger video. And today, guys, this is the first of a kind to where we brought this to this channel, but we're bringing you an ultimate Raze guide. And this is why I want to bring you ultimate Raze guide, is because literally Raze, it's the most underrated duelist right now. And you guys should be literally playing her on almost every single map, Bind, Haven, Ascent, Fracture, any map other than Breeze, she's amazing on. Even Icebox, bro, she's cracked, bro. So I'm gonna be bringing you a Raze guide to where I'm like kind of like introducing you guys to like how to use your utility properly, how to even play Raze and everything like that. And then in the future, we'll make some VOD reviews and everything like that, so you guys can like be able to like really apply the lessons you guys learned in this video and future videos into your gameplay. So that way you guys are just totally shred with Raze. All right. So before we get into the video, guys, 80% of you guys not subscribed. Please subscribe. We're trying to hit 10K, 10K very soon, to the moon. And yeah, like honestly, and if you guys do want to hit your desired rank of becoming diamond or beyond, watch the entire video. Don't be an iron. First, before we get into the utility usage and all this stuff and how to properly, use the Raze's utility, I want to explain to you guys what is Raze's job, okay? And it's a lot different from like other duelists. Yes, obviously, duelist jobs are to create space, but a lot of people get a misconception of like, oh, they're just supposed to W key on a site. What? No, it's not true. As a team, you guys need to bait out utility. Once you guys have baited out utility and you guys have made your job of pushing the bomb site a lot easier, then that is when you win an entry, okay? It's guys, your job as a duelist is to, as a team, bait out utility. Once you guys have baited out utility, then you want to take space on the map. Do not try to push in a bomb site. Do not try to push up certain area when you having to take a space. It doesn't make any sense. When you haven't baited out any utility, sorry, it doesn't make any sense to do that. So you're just gonna throw your life in the day. So Raze's job, guys, as a duelist, obviously Jet, her job is to be a distraction, okay, to cause panic, to cause to be a real pain in the ass, a distraction, because she dashes on the site. Reina, she's supposed to kind of get an opening on site by throwing out her flash, giving her team time to push out with her. Okay, not her by herself, with her. Okay, Raze is the angle clearing duelist. Okay, all of her utility is literally meant to clear angles, to clear corners, to kind of like block off like not only vision but also block off access for certain defenders and everything like that. And also on defense too, it's meant to like stall pushes, do some damage, do some chip damage, so that way the enemy team is literally like only 2-shot or 1-shot. Okay, that's pretty much Raze's job, is to do as much damage as possible and also to clear corners and to kind of like cut off access points basically. So now you guys understand what Raze's job truly is. I want to get into, now we're gonna go talk about her boombot. We're gonna teach about every piece of utility. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the boombot. All right, so getting into how to use Raze's Boombot. Now, obviously, first we're gonna tell you how to use it, what it's used for, and then I'm gonna get into like the damage part of it. Okay. So as you guys see in the background, Raze's Boombot is best to clear angles, to push enemies back, or to even do some damage, or to kind of like get some HP off enemy team. Okay. It's not really meant to kind of like get kills necessarily, just because it's the damage of it has kind of like dropped significantly. Okay, on one person it's gonna do about I believe like 80 to 76 damage. And then on let's say you have like two people right in front of you, it's gonna do like 76 damage on one person and 75 damage on another. The person who was meant to be hit for, I believe it's gonna do like one more damage, or like depending on how far the secondary person is. But basically as like kind of like overall, it kind of like distributes its damage to like each individual person, because it's like all blasts, right? So if there's two people, it'll do 75 damage on one person and then 76 damage on the other, or like 75 75, and stuff like that. Okay, that's like when it's like two people. Now it can the boombot does not lock onto two people. It only locks on to one person at a time. But let's say a person is standing next to that person, then it's gonna also do some damage on that person as well. And also another thing, guys, is that you guys can also use the boombot. Let's say you guys are kind of like let's say we're playing on B side on split, and then someone's pushing us from lane. But let's say like you just want to like kind of like throw it over a box or over like a high surface. Well, you just jump and just like shoot the boombot, and then the boombot will actually go over whatever the surface that you're trying to like send it over. Okay, so don't forget to also use that as well. You guys just don't have to always just place it on the ground. You guys can always place it on top of boxes, up a ramp, whatever. As long as you guys are able to kind of like jump up there and like kind of get your hand level above the edge of what you're trying to get it on. Okay. Another way a Raze Boombot, you guys should be playing around your Raze Boombot, is sending your Raze Boombot. Don't just let it kind of go by itself. you guys should really be sending either a teammate or you yourself should be following your Roomba, because the angles that your Roomba is not clearing, you can then clear it. Because think about it, if it detects anyone in the direction it's looking at, then it's gonna go off and it's gonna chase after them, right? But if you hear no sound, that means it's that angle is clear. So you don't have to look at the same stuff your boombot is clearing. You can then look at other angles that your boombot is not clearing. Okay, and that's also a really good way that to use the Raze boombot, and a lot of other people do not use. The Raze Nade. Okay, now the Raze Nade is pretty much self-explanatory. But obviously, at the end of the day, it's used to obviously clear corners, do damage, and also just probably go for kills. Now, the crazy thing about the Raze Nade is that the amount of damage it does is insane. Okay, this nade literally does like, so basically each explosion has 55 damage, being a total of 256 damage. Okay, we did a test. All right, a bowling ball challenge. All right, so we threw the Raze Nade in the middle of a group of six respawned sages, and it killed all of them. Okay, so literally you could have the potential to kill an entire team. Um, Obviously the numbers don't add up there, right? But in total, on one person, it could do like 256 damage. And it's pretty insane. And also one thing about the Raze Nade. Okay, so on the first explosion, guys, it's gonna do 55 damage. That's not the damage dealer. The main damage dealer is the 4 paint shells that come after. So the first explosion is with the first initial blast that sends the other 4 mini nades scattering, and then those 4 mini nades are the really deadly ones because they each do 55. And if you get a person to get at least like 2, they're kind of screwed, right? If they get hit with at least 2 or even 1, that they're still kind of, that's all, literally all their shields gone, and they're literally like just like a 2 shot. Now the damage drop off. I'm talking about the damage drop off. So depending on how far a person, so if a person's 5 meters away from a Raze Nade, it's gonna do 126 damage. That's a lot of damage, guys. A freak ton of damage. Okay. Now if a person is 10 meters away, it's gonna do 15 damage. Okay, so that's a big difference. Obviously, because they won't get hit with the initial blast, they only get hit with like the kind of like scattered paint shell, and that's kind of on average, like really. But so if they're 5 meters away, it's 126 damage. Because obviously 9 times out of 10 will get hit more than one spread nade. And if they're 10 meters away, then they'll get hit with 15. So keep that in mind. You guys are using Raze utility and like throwing Raze's nades and everything like that. One cool thing that you guys may not know is, if you guys look how the Raze nade explodes itself, you guys will also notice that like it kind of develops this kind of like cloud, or this kind of explosion cloud for a brief like maybe like 2 seconds or like 1 second. First with the first initial blast, and then with the 4 other mini blasts as well. Okay, so it can also be used, guys, as a smoke, as somewhat of like a cutoff point to where you can cut off access to one particular area, so that way you guys can quickly take site. For example, as you guys see in the footage in the background, I'm throwing the Raze Nade CT, and you guys see all that explosion smoke aura that's like kind of like popping up after every explosion. That's going to give me enough time to, let's say I need a nade off CT and we already have market smoked, but we can't smoke CT. I throw my nade CT, and then boom, it blocks off vision and access to the defenders, so that way the attacking team can then push lane and push button and stuff like that. Okay, so definitely you don't only use Raze Nades to get kills to do damage, but you can also do it as smokes and also as cutoff points to block off vision and access to the basically the defending or attacking team. All right, guys, and then so now we're going to talk about, yes, the glorified satchel. Okay, now one misconception that a lot of people think you're supposed to do is Raze is just satchel on the site every single time, which is a complete stupid. It's stupid. You're only supposed to really, I'd only say really satchel on the site if it's like, if you're gonna get the element of surprise on them, or if you kind of like have no other means to really have a good entry, or if you're using the ult, then that's also a good way to satchel on the site. But if you're just doing that every single time, you just become predictable. You're just gonna get crapped on. As you guys see, satcheling on a site is honestly best used when like your opponents are like kind of like, if they have like sheriffs, or you have stronger weapons, or if you're trying to distract them. Like, let's say you're attacking and you want to be like a distraction, then you can satchel on a site, but your team has to kind of like follow up with you. So that way, like, as you're distracting the defending team or the enemy team, they can like kind of like kill them while they're like busy trying to shoot you in the air, right? But honestly, it's not that hard for them to kill you if like they have rifles. But if they have like sheriffs and like pistols and stuff like that, then it's amazing. And another thing I want to really kind of get into, like how properly use satchels. is by there's a thing called satchel peeking. Basically, there's 2 points of satchel peeking. There's one kind of like aggressively satchel peeking, which is like satcheling yourself while keeping your feet basically kind of like really close to the ground, so that way your accuracy isn't you're not too inaccurate, and that also way your accuracy level can kind of you can be accurate a lot quicker, right? And then you're just like kind of like flying through the your enemy's screen, and you're able to kind of get an easy kill that way. But there's also another way is if like let's say an enemy's holding an angle and you are the aggressor, right? Like you're aggressing them and everything, or they're aggressing you, you're holding an angle, they're trying to push you. You can either use your satchel. Let's say you're holding an angle and they're pushing you. You use your satchel to push them back, so that way you can reposition, or use your satchel to push them back, so that way you can then swing and try to get a kill and then get out the dangerous angle you're in. Or the way is like, let's say a player is playing an angle, right? And you're trying to push that angle. What you can do is just throw your satchel on the angle before you explode it. Peek out, and as you're peeking out, explode it, so that way they're like lunged and they're completely inaccurate. And then by the time you swing them, they're already like kind of like really inaccurate. They're panicking. And you just shoot them in the face. It's pretty easy, pretty simple, and it's a pretty overpowered way that a lot of people do not know how to properly use, guys. Whenever you're in danger and you have people in front of you and stuff like that, dude, just throw your satchel, shoot, throw your satchel, shoot. Like, it works every single time, guys, and it's so freaking frustrating and annoying to people. I'm telling you, you guys are going to get in a lot of people's heads if you guys are able to abuse this mechanic. Getting into the damage of the satchel, each satchel it does, I believe it does like 50 damage, like 55 damage. So it's going to take away someone's shield for sure, okay? So you do a satchel and you like kind of like hit them directly on their body, it's going to take away some shield. Or if it's really close to them, it's also going to take away basically their shield and everything. So it's a pretty cool tool to use. But it's not the best to use just to get kills, unless if a person's less than 50 HP, then you should really be throwing your satchel and you'll get the kill. It's really cool. It's a really cool mechanic, and it tilts people. I'm telling you guys, it tilts people a lot. 90% of the time, you should be saving your satchels to when you are in gunfights to kind of like, distort the enemy, to like push them out the way so they're not like accurate, so that way you can get an easy kill, or to kind of get people out of corners and stuff like that, or even to like do damage on utility as well, because it does break Killjoy ult, it breaks Killjoy mollies, or just use your mind, use your creativity as to like how you can best use these satchels, other than just blast backing on the site every freaking time. And lastly, we're going to talk about our ultimate. Okay, one thing you guys don't want to do with the Raze ult, and it was kind of hard calculating the entire damage, but if it's a direct impact, it's going to kill a person. If it's a little further, it may do like 120 damage, but 9 out of 10, it's going to light a person up, okay? So after a person gets like Raze ulted, if they haven't died yet, then guess what? They're going to be really lit. They're going to be like literally one shot, all right? Now, one thing you guys don't want to do is shoot your ultimate ability from very far, because it's a lot easier for someone to dodge it, okay? You don't want to shoot it too far and also too close, because one, you're going to kill yourself possibly, and two, you may not be able to even shoot it out on time, just depending on the timing, which I'll get into in a little bit later. And then like, so you want to kind of get the right distance of how you want to shoot the Raze ult. You don't want to shoot it too far because it's going to be easily dodgeable. And let's say you're really close to an enemy. For example, in the example of the background, as you guys see, I'm stuck logs, right? I'm being pushed, and I decide to just pull out my Raze util. Well, you guys have to understand, as soon as you pull out the Raze ultimate, it's not going to be able to shoot until like 2 seconds after, because it has to go through the animation, right? So it takes some time to shoot. So allow yourself to kind of like be like, okay, I have 2 seconds to be able to get it out, and then I can make my play, okay? Not just instantly pull it out and then instantly like swing, and then you're just going to be clicking the left mouse and it's not going to be shooting. You're just going to get it one tapped, right? That happens a lot of times. So you got to allow those 2 seconds to kind of go through, and then you can shoot it. Now, obviously, if you're pushing an angle, right, and then you should be combining your ultimate with your blast pack. You can combine it with other pieces of utility as well. But normally, guys, this really good as well to kind of like not only take space, but also to block off access. Like I said, the explosion of this is really overpowered. You guys, use your head. You don't only need to use this utility to get kills. It's also really easy for taking space and just blocking off access, like I said, depending on the situation you're in. Now, obviously, we'll elaborate more on this when we go do in-depth VOD reviews. Now, this is obviously a guide on how to use your utility and what your utility is best to be used for. So this is kind of, we're just like generalizing everything here. But now that you guys are experts at Raze, thank you so much. And yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly. And we'll obviously get some VOD reviews for you guys in the future. That way, so you guys can really see, okay, in an actual in-game situation, how it's like. But this is just to kind of give you a general idea on how to use your utility and like what your utility is good for. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys liked this video and found this content to be helpful, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And guys, we're gonna hit 10K, baby. Let's go. Let's hit the road to 10K. Share this video with your friends, guys. Listen, I want to see more Raze mains because Raze is a duelist that is very overpowered. Do not underestimate this agent, and you guys will soon see once we start bringing you guys VOD reviews and everything like that. But it's been your boy Sando. It's been a pleasure, and I am outie. I love you. Peace outie. Yee.